friends, it's Lisa, and welcome to week 4, that's 4 of the Magical Readathon. So we're definitely on the tail end of this readathon, and I've still got a lot to read. I'm currently reading How High We Go in the Dark by Sequoia Nagamatsu. I'm 50% of the way through this. I'm planning on finishing this early on in the week this week. And this is I don't know if it's intended to be a short story collection, but it kind of reads like one. And there is this pandemic that starts, and it's kind of, the whole book is spanning 100 years, following the kind of evolution of this pandemic and this illness and the different ways people kind of cope and the different jobs that come out of this situation. And it's very sad, and it makes me feel anxious at times, and is also very weird, but I think I'm liking it. But that is counting towards the psionics and divination class for the Q level, or the Q grade, and I have to do the O, Q, and D grades for that class, so we're working on it. I'm trying my best. I'm also reading still Nine of Swords by Brooklyn Quintana. Yes, still making my way through this, but I have just over 100 pages left of this book, and I think I may try and finish it tonight, and then I will just be done with it, and I'm very excited to finish it. I'm very excited to see how it all wraps up, and I'm still enjoying it. I feel like the farther I've gotten into this book, the more I've been enjoying it. So I'm excited to see how it all ends. But this isn't even for the Magical Readathon. I started this way back in July, so I definitely can't count it, which is kind of a bummer, but that's okay. I'm just excited to keep reading it. So once I finish How High We Go in the Dark, I actually only have 4 books and prompts left to complete, but I realized that 2 of the 4 prompts that I have left, I could count my rereads of Heartstopper that I did earlier on this month for. Sam is investigating my birthday presents, as you should. Anyway, so I reread all 4 volumes. I think I read one of them in July, but because you could start this readathon a few days early, before August started, it still counts. But I also read the 3 other volumes of Heartstopper in the month of August, and I think the prompt for Art of Illusion that I have to do is to read without touching the floor or the ground, and I definitely did that with all 4 volumes. I read them in my bed. And then the other prompt they could count for is for lore, and that is to read a bookseller's or librarian's recommendation. And I just went to Darian with that prompt, and I know for a fact she would recommend Heartstopper. So I feel like I should prioritize the 2 other prompts first, because I can use Heartstopper for the other ones if I need to. So the other 2 books that I have left to read for the other prompts are Writers and Lovers by Lily King. I'm reading this for the D grade for Psionics and Divination, which is to read a book with Lily on the cover, or the word in the title or in the author's name. And then also the O grade for Psionics and Divination, I'm reading Bitter Blue by Kristen Kishore, which is on my shelf over there. And I'm planning obviously on reading Bitter Blue, the physical copy of it, and then I think I'm going to listen to the audiobook for Writers and Lovers. So I'm going to start with those 2 books, I think, and then maybe read the other books that I had for the other 2 prompts if I have time. But like I said, I think Heartstopper will definitely count for both of them. So if I don't manage to get to them, I will still have completed them by reading Heartstopper. So thank God I did those rereads, because it's very helpful now. But yeah, those are the reading plans for the week. We will see how it all goes. And welcome to the 4th week of the Magical Readathon. There will be another weekly vlog for the final handful of days of August. So this is the second to last vlog. We're not quite done yet, but welcome to week 4. Well, friends, some exciting updates. We are approaching the end of both of my current reads. No, I still haven't finished this, but it's fine. I'm going to tonight, I promise. Of 760 pages, I believe. Yes, 760. I am on page 702. So we have less than 60 pages. We got 58 pages to read. I will be finishing this tonight, which is just very exciting. I'm excited. Again, I feel like this is going to be one of those books that things are going to be happening until the last page. So I'm excited to see how it all wraps up, like I've said, but I am enjoying it, and I'm excited to also just be done with it. Not that I haven't been enjoying it this whole time. As far as books that have taken me a while to go, this was a good option for that. It's a book that I have spent a lot of time with, and a lot of time with the characters and the world, and it's been enjoyable to spend that much time with it. The reason it took me so long to read is not because I wasn't enjoying it, it's just a high fantasy, and I've been reading so much romance within the past couple of years that this is just very much not in my comfort zone as much anymore. I really haven't been reading a whole lot of fantasy in general, so I like started to get into a fantasy mood, and this is what I read. It was just like going into the deep end, you know? So it's not anything to do with the book. I think it's me. I have been really enjoying it and getting back into this world every time I pick it up, but I am excited to finish this. So we'll be finishing this tonight. Again, this is not for the magical readathon. I can't count it for that, which is kind of annoying, but it's okay. But yes, I obviously have been updating you all on my progress with this over the past month, or maybe even more than a month. So I wanted to let you know we will be finishing this. I also have been continuing to listen to How High We Go in the Dark. I am 76% of the way through this. I'm on chapter 12, so I have 5 chapters left of this. And I just did the math on the speed that I'm listening to. I have like an hour and a half left of this, so I could also probably maybe finish this today. We'll see. I definitely think finishing Nine of Swords is the priority, but I definitely think I could finish How High We Go in the Dark as well. So that would be exciting, and that is counting for a prompt for the readathon. With How High We Go in the Dark, I am still enjoying it. I do find it really interesting how all of the characters throughout these different stories connect. Like one of the ones I just read, like one of the last chapters I just read, had a character that hadn't been mentioned since the first chapter of this book. So it has been interesting seeing all of those connections and seeing different characters interact with one another. Some of the stories and some of the chapters I haven't enjoyed as much. I feel like I don't know, is this a short story collection? What is this considered? It reads like one, so that's kind of how I keep talking about it. But there definitely have been some chapters and certain stories that we've been following and certain characters that have been more interesting than others, but I do think I am enjoying it. I do think though, like this whole concept of like a pandemic and all of these things happening, it does kind of stress me out, which I've been saying since the beginning. It does have that bit of anxiety inducing feelings, but it is interesting to see what humanity would do maybe in these positions. I mean, we've seen what they do in certain situations with certain pandemics, but it is interesting to see how different people handle it and what they do, and the certain jobs that are created out of this situation and this pandemic. And I think just the different like relationships that come out of certain things, like it's just been very interesting, I think, as like an exploration of like humanity and people and what they do and how they act. It has been very interesting, so I am liking it. I'm interested to see like when I put it through the compile rating system. I don't know why I always do this when I say compile. I think it's just what my brain thinks to do. I don't know. But when I put it through that, I'm interested to see what like the star rating comes out to. Right now it's probably feeling like a 4 because it has made me feel a lot of things. Whether that's like anxiety and stress, but also like it has been very emotional and sad at some points, but also in others very hopeful. And I think some of the connections these characters are creating is also very special to see. So yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling all of the emotions I think I'm supposed to be feeling, and I am liking it. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's feeling like a 4-star maybe right now. But yeah, like I said, I still have like 5 chapters left. So we're going to see how it all wraps up. But I'm interested to see how it continues and how the story and this pandemic and the vaccines and all of these things, like how they all evolve. It's going to be, I think, interesting to see how it wraps up. But yeah, those are kind of the reading updates for now. I wanted to update on both of those books before finishing them, kind of reading the last few chapters of both of those books. Right now, they're both feeling like 4-star reads for me. So very excited about that. Excited to finish them both up, get started on more magical readathon reads. Again, don't think I'm going to be able to read everything I had set on my TBR. I definitely think Heartstopper is going to be replacing some things, but I'm excited to read the other things on my TBR, Bitter Blue and Writers and Lovers. Very different vibes, which I think will be good. I won't get anything confused, but I'm excited for both of them, and I'm probably going to enjoy both of them. At least I hope so. know I'm in the exact same spot that I was yesterday, but I promise I have moved. Well, hello friends, happy Thursday. We are officially in like the final week of the readathon, which is stressing me out a little bit, but I will say, very exciting news, have finished some books, and one of them is Nine of Swords by Brooklyn Quintana. I did it. When I went to go and read it on Goodreads, I looked to see what day I started reading this, and it was July 8th. It is now, I finished it yesterday, the 23rd of August. It's fine. We got there in the end. And I think that just proves that I did enjoy this. I feel like if I had spent that much time with the book that I wasn't enjoying, I would have DNF'd it weeks ago. You know what I mean? I did really enjoy it. I did enjoy spending so much time with these characters and in this world. I definitely think that this series has a lot of potential. I feel like the last like few chapters, like the certain events and reveals and things that characters found out about, like were really interesting and have me very intrigued to continue on and to see where this series goes, because I think perhaps in the sequel it's going to get a lot more political, and I'm interested to see more like with that, because I feel like we didn't see a whole lot of that in this first book. That was kind of happening outside of Finn's realm of what was going on in his life. So I'm interested to see if that's more of a focus in the sequel. And there were a couple of things that happened at the end of this book that were very shocking, certain reveals that were very shocking, and some moments that had me like crying, and that was very unexpected. So I did really enjoy this. I think did I say what I rated this? I gave it 4 stars, which feels right. I think when I put it through Compile, like the whole rating is through a 1 through 10 scale, and I think 7, like exactly 7, is when the 4-star rating starts, and this was an exact 7. So it's a pretty low 4-star, but it's still a 4-star, and that's like what feels right. I think my biggest issue with this book, I think, was mainly just like the pacing and kind of the delivery of certain things within the first half. So the first half of this book, we're getting, you know, introduced to all of the characters and all of the politics and kind of the world, but also like there's certain events that happen that shape Finn and certain events that are going to happen throughout the rest of the book, and there's certain information that we learn that we don't fully understand but definitely comes back around in the second half. And I think that's why the second half was so much more enjoyable for me, because everything that was set up in the first half really came back around and started to connect a little bit more. But the first half, the way like the information was given or these events happened, it just felt very like, here it is, this is something that you need to know, now we're moving on. This is also something you need to know, now we're moving on. It just felt very like choppy. It didn't really flow well, but then you're also getting introduced to the characters and these dynamics, and it just felt like nothing really flowed together very well. Whereas in the second half, once we had all of these things established, the characters and those dynamics and the relationships there and the teachers and the politics and the near-death experiences and the things at the school and these trials that they were going through and the things they were learning, everything just came together really well and flowed together a lot nicer. Whereas the first half, it just felt very choppy, I guess is the best way to describe it, which again makes me more excited to get into the sequel, because now we know who the characters are, we've established everything that's going on. So I feel like in the sequel there will be less time kind of just like setting things up and explaining things in the first half. Hopefully like the sequel is basically what this whole second half of this book was like. Yeah, I don't know, there was just more of a flow within the plot and like the delivery of everything and the characters and certain events in the second half versus the first. But other than that, I did really enjoy it. And I also think if you're someone that, you know, is perhaps looking for an alternative to Harry Potter, I really try not to talk about that series much on my channel because I just don't want to. I don't want to promote it. I don't feel comfortable about it. But if you're looking for something that kind of has those similar vibes but are different, I think you might like this, because I did do some research. I think this author is a fan of Harry Potter, and I can definitely see the inspirations from Harry Potter that were taken in this series, but also it does stand on its own. It does do things differently. The world and the magic system and everything is very different, but I definitely think like the friendships and these kids at this school learning all these things, being in near-death situations all the time, it definitely gives me those same kind of vibes. I also think like there's really lovable teachers and there's not so lovable teachers, and I think there are certain teachers that these characters, these teens, you know, form connections with. And I don't know, it does give me those same kind of vibes, but it's also like it does stand on its own and it does have its own like magic system and world. And I definitely think like the politics are quite different from Harry Potter, but I definitely feel like there are some similarities and some things that remind me of each other. So I definitely would recommend if you're looking for something like that, but maybe more for like an adult, new adult reader. Yeah, I don't know, I really enjoyed it. So I had a good time with it. Very happy I finally finished it, but also like very happy that I enjoyed it at the end of the day. Like I, you know, spent so much time with the book that I did end up enjoying. So Good news. So I finished that, and unfortunately that could not count for the readathon. I've been reading like multiple things this month that were not for the readathon, so it's not really a mystery why I'm down to like the final week of the month and the final week of the readathon being like, I don't know if I'm going to finish my TBR. But I did finish reading or listening to How High We Go in the Dark by Sequoia Nagamatsu. I finished listening to it this morning. I was trying to finish it last night, but I started like dozing off in the last couple of chapters, and I was just not paying attention, and I was so tired, so I just went to sleep. So I listened to the last like couple chapters this morning. But yeah, I also enjoyed this. I also gave this 4 stars. So I think the reason why I enjoyed this book so much was the fact that like, even though all of these things were happening outside of these characters' experiences, like human connection and these relationships and people seeking these connections was kind of the center of every story. You know, there's a lot going on in the world. Obviously, there is this virus that's going on. There's a lot of people who are unsure of what that means and what it's going to do. There are some interesting jobs that are created out of this situation. Like I've been saying, like there is now an amusement park that is open for kids who have this virus to go to on their final day, to have this last final fun day, which that specific story I think is going to stick with me forever. But then there's also another story of this guy who works at this hotel, and it's this very like luxurious experience for people who are also dying to go to and spend their final day in this like very luxurious place, and their families are able to stay there as well and like say goodbye to them in this luxury. And it's just like really interesting to see the jobs and the certain things that are created from this virus and this pandemic. And then there's just also like developments with, you know, technology and just a lot of other things going on outside of the actual human experience. But the human experience and like the human connection is what is the center of all of these stories, which I personally really enjoyed. Through all of this, we were still seeing characters who want to find love and relationships and want to connect with their families again, or they're missing people who they've lost. And so grief is obviously a very big subject in this book as well. But I don't know, I think it was interesting to have like the human feeling and human connection at the center of all of it, and that is what I really enjoyed about it. And I know I kind of already have said this before as well, but I really loved that there were a lot of connections to other characters that were mentioned in every chapter. Like you see a lot of mentions of other characters very quickly sometimes, or sometimes it's like the daughter of a character we were following in a chapter a few chapters ago. And I thought that was so interesting, but also like is what kept me engaged and really like interested in this book, because I was able to recognize these things that I've already seen kind of, and it made me feel more invested in these characters because I had seen them or maybe heard of them, or they were referencing characters I already knew. And I think having all of these characters like come together and all of these connections also added to the conversation about human connection. And yeah, overall, I just really enjoyed it. I definitely feel like the first half of the book, I think I was a little bit more interested. I feel like those specific stories and characters are the ones that I think will stick with me a little bit longer. Like I've already kind of forgotten some of the ones I read in the second half of this book. I feel like the second half I became a little bit less interested, but I was still enjoying it. But I think if it had like stayed consistent with like the first half of the book, I think this could have been like a 4.5 5-star read for me. But I definitely like lost interest kind of throughout, but I still enjoyed it overall. I think, yeah, like I said, I gave it 4 stars, so I did really like it. So yeah, I don't know if any of that made sense. Sometimes I speak and I'm like, I don't think things are connecting. The way things are going in my brain is not what's coming out here. But hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. Gave it 4 stars. It also counted for the magical readathon. That did count for the Q grade for psionics and divination. And like I was explaining at the beginning of this vlog, Heartstopper, a couple of volumes of Heartstopper can count for some other prompts, but it can't count for all of the ones I have left. So I'm going to focus on the ones that I have to read certain things for in order for them to be counted. So I'm going to be starting Bitter Blue by Kristen Couture, I'm sure at some point today. And I'm really excited. I really like the Graceling series. I've had such a good time with the first 2 books in the series. And I think like just the other day, Andrea read Graceling and I think she really loved it. And just seeing her talk about how much she loved it, it made me excited to read one of the books in the series. Especially because our main Gorley, Bitter Blue, who we're going to be following in this book, is a character that we get introduced to in the first book in the series, Graceling. So we're going to be back with her, but I also think some of the other characters that we were following in Graceling are going to be coming back. Particularly the main characters of Graceling, I think are going to be showing up in this book. I hope, I pray, because I love them. So I want to see them again, and I'm very excited to see if any of those other characters show up. I'm very excited. Because Fire, the second book in this series, takes place like, I think it's like 50 years before the events of Graceling, so it feels a little bit disconnected from the main characters from the first book, but I think we're going to go back to that with this one. and I'm very excited about it. Plus, again, these covers, I mean, they're just stunning. And this is counting for the O grade for psionics and divination. I had to use the random tarot generator. Like, something on the card had to be like the same on the cover, and there was a crown on the tarot card that I got. So there's the crown. There we go. Yeah, so I'm going to be starting this, and then I also think I'm going to start the audiobook for Writers and Lovers by Lily King. So yeah, those are the books that we're going to be reading next, and we'll see how far I can get into them by the end of this vlog. Like I said, I am going to be doing a vlog next week as well for the last like handful of days of the month and of the readathon, so if I don't finish them by the end of this vlog, we still got time. I would ideally like to make a good amount of progress in this by the end of this vlog, just to set myself up for the most success for the end of the readathon, but we'll see. I'm really good at being like, I'm going to read so much, and then I don't, but it's fine. Shift so you can't see my unmade bed behind me. I also just went up 2 flights of stairs, so now I'm tired, but I just got home. Hello, how we all doing? No reading updates, haven't started anything, but let me not show the side with my address. I got a package, and I believe it's from Darian, because she told me to check my mail, so I did, and now I have mail. So I'm thinking the math is mathing, but I thought we could open it together. Let me find the note. And also, just based off of the size of the book, I have a prediction of what it is, but I don't know for sure. Little bestie Darian. Oh, I was really wrong. She got me Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. I think I almost bought this when we went to Barnes & Noble together. Was that last summer? Was that 2 summers ago? No. Last summer? I don't know, but I have it now. I'm very excited. I've wanted to read this for so long. This seems like it's going to be something that's right up my alley. I thought it was going to be The 7-Year Slip, because I know she's reading that right now, and it felt like a similar size. Oh my god, wow. I'm so excited about this. Thank you so much, Darian, for the little prize. I'm going to have to text you that I did in fact get my mail, and I have this. Oh god, hello. Please ignore the appearance. It's been a bit of a day. Also, ignore the fact I'm wearing a Tampa Bay Buccaneers shirt. I am not a Bucs fan, but this was the year they won the Super Bowl, the year after Tom Brady left the Pats and went to Tampa Bay, and my mom was excited that they won. I mean, I guess I was. I think they were playing the Chiefs, so I guess I was excited that they won, but my mom got me a shirt, and it's very comfortable. That's really as much as I have to do with this team. Anyway, no one cares about my football allegiances. Anyway, yeah, today has been a bit of a day. This morning, I'm gonna be talking about blood. I don't know if that would bother some people, so I'll put a timestamp of like, and blood and anxiety. I'm gonna talk about that, so if either of those things bother you, or don't want to hear about them, I'll put a time to skip to if you don't want to hear about it. But I woke up this morning and I rolled over and I felt like my nose was like runny, and I kind of sniffed. I was like, that's a suspicious feeling. And I like touched my nose and I pulled my hand away. I was like, oh, that's blood. So I had a bloody nose. So I sat up. It's intense bloody nose. It was gushing. It was really gross. Very alarming, actually. I think that's why I've felt so weird today, because it's just like the way I started my morning. I woke up, I was half asleep and this was happening, so I kind of like woke up in like a whoa, what's going on panic sort of thing, and I realized, I was like, that's kind of weird that I had like this very intense bloody nose. And I'm like, I feel like most of the times it's like environmental causes, or just like if you get like a cold or something, it can happen. I feel like whenever I've gotten a bloody nose like in the past, it's always been very random. But I did some Googling. I meant to look this up before I started this clip, but I think I was looking it up. If you are feeling particularly anxious and like you have high blood pressure, things happen and that can cause you to get a bloody nose. And I feel like I'm not a doctor, so that's the explanation you're gonna get from me. And I have been feeling very anxious all week, which I feel like is why I really haven't been vlogging much. Like it's been an interesting week. I have been going back and forth on if I wanted to talk about this. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like there's just certain things when it comes to the internet. Like I feel like I'm very open about like my interests and my feelings and my opinions, but like anything to do with anything going on outside in my life beyond like what we typically talk about here, I feel like it's just not what I want to share. I'm very like conscious of what I want to put on the internet, which I think that's smart. But basically on Monday, the very beginning of this week, I had a job interview and I got a job. And I talked about it at the very beginning of this vlog, and I've already started editing this vlog, and I edited that bit out because I was like, I don't know if I want to share this or not. But now I'm like, we're far enough into the vlog that like most people have probably stopped watching by now. So it's like less people are here hearing this. But yeah, I got a job and I have been like, I was really excited, you know, that I got the new job and I, you know, did the interview and it was fine. And it's nothing crazy. So it's fine. I was excited about it. And then Tuesday, I don't use this lightly. Like I wouldn't just say this if it was just me being like a little anxious. Like I'm pretty positive I had like a panic attack on Tuesday. I laugh so I don't cry. No, I'm fine right now. But yeah, I think it was just like the relief of the interview was like, oh, okay, now I'm okay. Like I did that part. And then the realization that like, okay, now I'm going to be working this new job. Like, okay. And that all set in. And then I started panicking. And yeah, so on Monday, so today's Saturday, on Monday is my first day. I think it's just like, it's as it gets closer and closer, I'm feeling more and more anxious. And I'm like, I wonder if that's why I got a bloody nose. I'm so anxious that my blood pressure is really high and I gave myself a bloody nose. Like I didn't even realize that that was like a thing that could happen. But of course I would manage to do that. And now I'm sitting here as I'm talking about this, I'm like, am I gonna even include this clip in this vlog? Like this is like, I don't know. I don't know what's oversharing. I don't know what I feel comfortable sharing. Obviously, like I feel somewhat comfortable if I turn my phone on to film this, but even just like talking about it, I feel a little bit better. But yeah, I've just been very anxious. So, but I also feel like I don't know, I want to explain like if things on YouTube start kind of changing a little bit. Obviously I still want to do it. Like I'm not gonna just like stop filming and posting. Like I'm going to still do this. Like this isn't stopping because I now have a job, but obviously it's going to be an adjustment of like figuring out the timing of everything and, you know, managing my time so that I can continue to do everything I want to do. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of an adjustment. And I think like today I haven't done any reading at all because when I'm anxious, I don't want to read. Like I prefer to watch something. I find that's easier to like my mind to focus on. When I'm reading, I find my mind wanders onto what I'm anxious about. So I haven't done like any reading today. I'm kind of hoping. I've been watching some YouTube pretty much all day because I've just been trying to like relax. But I did start reading Bitter Blue last night. I also started listening to Writers and Lovers by Lily King, but I'm not far into either of them. I'm on chapter 2, which is page 26 of Bitter Blue, and I think I'm like 10% of the way through Writers and Lovers, the audiobook for that. So I'm hoping to do some reading later on tonight. I just kind of want to chill and relax, I think, and then maybe once I have dinner, after dinner, spend my evening, you know, doing some reading and more relaxing, just taking a chill time before work starts on Monday. But yeah, I think it's something I wanted to talk about just because obviously like uploads may become a little bit different. I don't know. It's at least gonna be different at first, but we're gonna obviously have to wait and see. But I wanted to at least mention that was happening. And like, obviously like that's going to take away the time that I once had for filming and stuff. But I don't know, it's all gonna be up in the air for a little bit. We're gonna be figuring it out, but that's what's been going on. And if you've been wondering why this week I've maybe not been filming a lot, or if there's been a vibe about these clips that I've been filming, there's your explanation. Anxious. Oh, and that's why I didn't read an explanation why I didn't read the note that came in the book Darian got me yesterday, because she was congratulating me on my new job, and it was a little prize for that, and I was like, I don't know if I want to talk about this. I don't know why. It's not that I'm trying to like keep things from people, but it's obviously, I don't know, I think maybe you'll understand, like there's just some things that I just want to keep to myself. But yeah, that's why I didn't read the note out that Darian wrote to me in my book, because she was congratulating me on my new job. I'm very excited to read that. And yeah, definitely tonight want to do some reading of Bitter Blue, hopefully make some progress here. But yeah, I'm gonna get back to watching some YouTube, hopefully do some reading later, hydrating because I got a headache, but I'm doing my best. I think this is the second one that I've had today of these, second or third, I don't know. This is 40 ounces. It's a lot of water. I'm doing my best. Okay, I'm now babbling. That's all. Well, hello friends, it is now Sunday evening, and I thought we could wrap up this vlog here. I do plan on doing some reading tonight, but I'm also hoping to just like relax and chill, and yeah, I kind of just don't want to think about like having to vlog. I just kind of want to have a relaxing night, so I thought we could wrap up the vlog here. Again, I may or may not have edited out what I filmed yesterday. I still don't know what I want to share, but I do start a new job tomorrow, so that's kind of why I want to just have a really relaxing night and just kind of have that time to myself to prepare and keep myself calm and not too anxious. But yes, I wanted to update on my progress for the Magical Readathon. I did decide to count Heartstopper Volume 2 and Volume 3 for the, I think it's Art of Illusion and Lore classes. I counted Heartstopper Volume 2 for the Art of Illusion class, which was to read a book without touching the ground or the floor, and I counted Volume 3 as a bookseller / librarian's recommendation, because I went to my bestie Darian, and I know for a fact that she would recommend Heartstopper. So that's what I decided to do there, just knowing that I only have like a few days left of this readathon and I'm still reading 2 other things for it. Like, I just knew I wasn't going to be able to get to those prompts, so it's a good thing that my rereads of Heartstopper are now like coming around to be helpful at this moment. Like, I'm glad I reread them because now I can count them towards the readathon. So with the 2 books that I'm still reading for the readathon, the 2 final books now that I have to read, one of them being Bitter Blue, I'm now on chapter 6, page 71. I did end up getting the audiobook for this as well to kind of listen while I read along. I figured that would just help me get through it a little bit faster and maybe be able to focus more, especially as I have been feeling so anxious recently. I feel like my mind is wandering so much that having the audiobook to kind of help me really focus on what I'm reading and kind of stop myself from being distracted and thinking about the things that are making me anxious, like I think that's just like the best way to go about this. So I did get the audiobook, and so far I am enjoying it. I really enjoy this world. I don't know, like, I don't want to describe what this book is specifically about. Plus, I didn't even really read the description, to be honest with you. I'm just like, it's a Graceling book. I'm gonna read it and probably enjoy it. But each book is kind of following different sets of characters. So this one is following Bitter Blue, who's a character you meet in the first book. And in the first book, we are introduced to this world full of Gracelings. And Gracelings are these people with different like magical abilities. So the main character in book 1, Graceling, her name is Katza. She is able to kill a man with her bare hands, and with that power, that kind of takes her on her own journey, and throughout that journey, she ends up running into Bitter Blue, and Bitter Blue now is the main character of this book, and is taking place, I think, like 9 or so years after those events from Graceling, so I'm excited to be back with this character. I'm excited to be back with, like, the characters from the first book. Not that I didn't love the characters from Fire, the second book, because that one's set like 50 years before these 2 books, but I just really love these characters. I think like the first characters I got introduced to in this world were some of these characters, so it's just nice to be back with them. And yeah, I just really enjoy Kristen Cashore's writing, so I'm excited to see where this goes. Like I said, I didn't even read the description myself, so I don't even really know where this book is going to go, which is just very exciting. And then I also started the audiobook for Writers and Lovers, and both of these are counting towards the oh, what class is it? I could check. Oh, the Psionics and Divination class. Yes. Bitter Blue is counting towards the O grade, and Writers and Lovers is counting towards the D grade. So this is like the final class, the final prompts that I have to do. And so I started Writers and Lovers. I'm now 19% of the way through this, so not super far. I was trying to listen to it last night before I fell asleep, which is like when I love to listen to audiobooks, but also when it gets to a point where I'm so tired, I just start falling asleep and then I don't know where I'm at in the audiobook. So I think I'm at chapter 5, 19% of the way through. I think I started falling asleep while listening to chapter 5, so I just put myself back at the beginning of the chapter. And so far this book, I mean, I feel like this is going to be more of like a character-driven book. I don't know how much of a plot there is. We are following this girl, Casey, who has recently just lost her mom and has moved to Massachusetts. Hey, I'm not even from Massachusetts, but I'm like, it's close enough. It's New England representation, so that'll do for me. But yeah, she's moved recently to Boston, I believe, or somewhere in the Boston area, and she's now working at a restaurant, but she has this desire to be a writer, and she's also recently gone through a like breakup, so she's kind of just going through it and is feeling very lost, I think, in life. She really doesn't have a whole lot of finances. She's just lost a partner. She's also lost her mom as well. Obviously different losses, but still, you know, losses in their own way, and really wants to pursue a writing career. And I believe she is going to be trying to make that maybe work in this book. I'm not really sure. It does say in the description that she also falls for 2 very different men at the same time. And then it does say that she's like trying to balance like art and life and these relationships that she may be entering. And yeah, I don't know. I'm liking it so far. I'm liking the writing, but I don't really feel like I'm far enough into it to really like grasp what exactly is going to be going on. Like I haven't even met the 2 men that she's going to be interested in. So I'm still very much at the beginning, but I am liking it so far. I'm definitely intrigued. But yeah, that's where I'm at with my 2 current reads and my 2 final reads for the Magical Readathon. So fingers crossed I can get them done by Thursday. I do also have plans on Thursday, so we'll see how much reading I'm able to do on the last day of the readathon. It's just, you know, I'm gonna be trying my best here. I think I'll be able to do it, but it will definitely be like down to the very last minute of me trying to get everything done. So yes, I will be doing one more vlog for the readathon, and time will tell if I'm able to finish anything. Fingers crossed. I think I will, but we'll see. And actually, I think the day that this vlog goes up is going to be the final day of August, so the final day of the readathon. So if you participated, how'd you do? Did you finish everything? Did you read all the things you wanted to read? Did you not finish everything? I feel like that may end up being me, but like I said, we'll see. I'm gonna be optimistic. But yeah, I would love to know how you all did with the Magical Readathon this month, and if you finished all of the prompts for your calling, what calling you had. Just let me know everything, how it all went for you. But I think that is going to be it for week 4 of the Magical Readathon. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.